Good gravy, Miss Mavie. Welcome to the show, Graham. I wanted to, we did a show yesterday, but I felt bad. We had Crazy Joe on. If you haven't heard it yet, the show is up. It is publicly available. Go give it a listen. I suggest go over to YouTube and give it a watch. I suggest give it a watch. It's, Joe's not on the video, but there's a lot of comments on the screen and, other stuff that you should probably see if you're vaccinated. So but I had so much planned for you yesterday. Welcome to a little bonus. I think we'll do like about half of a show today that'll end up going out public. Right now, if live, you got to be a member only. And I got to tell you, I've been really underwhelmed with the membership subscriptions on YouTube. I got to say this, they are not even a quarter of the paid subscriptions we would get over on Twitch. So that is frightening, but maybe we're not doing as much, and maybe there aren't as many features, I think, for people who pay for a membership. So maybe what we do is, if you want to, maybe we'll move all live shows to paid members only. Now, I'm not saying we're going to do that, but maybe that's something we will try. And then they'll go out on their respective channels. Look, if it's going to be a podcast for everybody, eventually the video will be made available and the audio will be pushed out on the podcast. But if it's for Overdose or an after show, something like that, eventually it'll be up on video and audio out on your Overdose feeds. But live, if you want to see it live, maybe we're going to make it, where you got to be a member to watch. Maybe that's how we drive it. I don't know. YouTube, Moody. YouTube doesn't really push membership the same way Twitch does. Yeah, for sure. 100%, I guess. And that's the trade-off, I guess. I'll tell you this. I haven't had any problem at all with streaming or ingest bullshit ever since we switched over to YouTube. I think that stuff had to be Twitch related, right? Like we were having so many problems with that. At my old place, at this place, I upgraded. I got $2,000 worth of new enterprise level, networking equipment in here. So like everything is hardwired, everything is new. I got gigabit internet, unlimited. I don't understand. The bottleneck has to be Twitch. Somewhere in their ingest network, they're having issues. I'll just say that. But anyway, welcome. So we'll do about half the show. I think that'll eventually be made, pardon me, public, and everybody else will be Overdose only. And if you don't have an Overdose membership, we're still doing 20% off. Head over to nobodylikesonions.com/overdose. Use promo code Melinda at checkout. That's Bill's wife. Use code Melinda at checkout. Get 20% off right there instantly. That brings the price down to almost the old price, $10.40 a month, I believe. And you might say that's expensive, Patrick. Like that costs as much as Netflix. Right. I don't have the enterprise they do, nor the number of subscribers. Okay, so how about you pony up the $10 and get off my lawn, You bastards.
Oh, no.
No, I don't. I thank everybody who does support the show in any way possible. By the way, order a hat, order a shirt, join the Overdose, subscribe on YouTube, do a super chat, make a donation. I don't give a shit. Do it in my name to the Human Fund. Lots to talk about today. I don't know where we'll go with this. I think, I want to talk a little bit about the mask stuff that we got into yesterday. I'm more and more convinced at this point that this is all just to confuse us out of nowhere. I mentioned this yesterday. I got a lot of DMs about my position on this, but I'd stand by it 100%. There's no way that after a year of planning things and levels of, code red, orange, yellow, green, 14 days of this, that we can move to this level. Once we go past the surge, we have to go back down to this level. There are defined steps of reopening and date lines and timelines and criterium. It's a funny word I like to do. Vis-a-vis. The thing about it is, how do you come out of nowhere on a Thursday and throw out there, hey, everybody, no masks, just on a Thursday afternoon? I saw a video. I don't know how real this is, but I saw a video of the First Lady getting off the plane with her husband, Sleepy Joe. And I swear to God, she goes, oh my God, we landed and we were told that the mask mandate was lifted. We were so excited we could take the masks off. It's like you're the president's wife. You didn't have a heads up that the mask mandate was ending sometime today. If it's a lie, it's a weird lie. And for what? And B, if it's not a lie, what? Come on. The CDC just out of nowhere does this. I got an alert right before the show started. I haven't really read this, but from the gist of it, Facebook is all up in your ass about these, about vaccine notifications and stuff. City of Las Vegas announcement. Clark County, Nevada raises the mitigation plan to align the face covering section with the new CDC guidelines on masks. This is released today. It took them a week to get there to release a statement and put together a plan. That's how fast hit the city was with this. This is just coming out today, where they're like, okay, we've updated our regulations in the city for mask mandates to be in line with the CDC recommendations. It took them 5-6 days, This guy, sorry, I think I have hair hanging down from my hat. It's tickling the fuck out of the bridge of my nose. The guidance allows fully vaccinated people to stop wearing face coverings in crowds and in many indoor locations. Masks must still be worn in hospitals and healthcare facilities, on planes, buses, trains, and other forms of public transportation, traveling into, within, or out of the United States, and in transportation hubs such as airports and stations. The Clark County Commission has decided that local COVID-19 mitigation plan will expire June 1st, allowing the return of pre-pandemic guidelines that left restrictions involving capacity limits, large gatherings, and more. So June 1st, they're throwing it all away, which is about a week away. So, week and a half. So here we are. Municipalities, states, companies. That guy at Costco, we watched a video yesterday getting attacked by Rick Schroeder, child star from Silver Spawns. Being attacked because imagine on TV, it comes out, CDC's like, you don't have to wear masks anymore. This guy just hops in his car, goes to Costco and starts screaming at a manager. It's like, this is insane. Of course it sows seeds of anger, hatred, betrayal, and dissent, but it also, it sows real seeds of confusion. And I think this is going to cause more fighting. I've already seen it on Facebook. You're starting to see it in public via YouTube videos of freakouts. and weak-minded people who have been brainwashed, and enlisted as, little SJW soldiers by this super left woke culture of like mask up or shut up, with no regards for what somebody's unique situation might be. This is where we're at. So there's this video of Rachel Maddow. She interviews the director of the CDC, I guess, in this video entitled "Everything You Need to Know About the CDC." Now, about the new CDC mask guidelines. Now, she interviews this woman. Look at the timestamps on this video. 10 minutes, 29 seconds in is where I'm going to start playing a clip. But she's interviewed this woman for 10 minutes and 30 seconds. The interview is wrapped up now. She's asked a bunch of questions like, do I have to wear a mask at my desk at work? All this shit. Because it's so confusing, right? Everybody's so confused. This bomb was just dropped. The politicization of wearing masks is banana nuts, and ending the mandate means you're likely to get more outbreaks. It's so dumb. The entire pandemic could be prevented if people weren't dummies. The problem is everything here wasn't handled in a aggressive / assertive way. There was nobody willing to step up and make a rule and do something. The whole 14 days to stop the spread. It's like everybody did something different. Every state, every city, everything. And it's all just been the kind of this rolling open, close. It's better, worse, more people dead, go out, don't go out. Stuff for a year and a half now, and we're all just over it. We're just over it. It's not like in Australia where you get locked down for a weekend or a week every few months when there's a small outbreak that they have to squash. This is ongoing, shit, and people are just tired of it. And you can understand once you understand that people, the people who don't take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt and some practicality to it, are just brainwashed dopes. Listening to her fumble around for questions for 10 and a half minutes with the director of the CDC about the new guidelines is fine. You're a news show. You want to get the information out there from the CDC. Great. Fine. This is what she says after the interview. These people are mental patients. These people are, I agree with you, Moody. You do a strong lockdown once or twice rather than weak ones forever. 100%. I've said that from the very fucking beginning. But, I don't know. The fact is here, the places that have the weakest, the most lax restrictions have the cases that are the lowest. These are facts. Texas and Florida are going down. California is struggling. All the blue states are struggling. All the ones that have been constantly railing for people and the most heavy restrictions. So I don't know. You say it's going to spark up again. There's no telling what with all the new variants and stuff. Sure. Who knows? But this is what you end up with. Somebody like Rachel Maddow, whose brain almost exploded when the CDC came on and said, you can take your masks off if you're vaccinated. Which, by the way, we all knew. Either you're lying one way or the other. Either the vaccines do nothing or not enough, and there's no point to them. Or once we're vaccinated and the appropriate amount of time has passed, we should be able to take the masks off and be fine. But it's politicized. Just like Moody said, listen to this woman. What's happened to her brain over the past year?
It is an amazing thing. I mean, I will just tell you at a personal level, I'm sorry for speaking of all that in such personal terms with Dr. Walensky, but when I was talking...
This is what they do, by the way. These are reporters. You used to not be able to editorialize and get personal and have personal feelings about facts, especially science that's related to medicine. How about we strap in, ease back, rein in our Harry Potter haircuts, and just get the story and the facts and the information out to people. Not break down nail biting. Wait till you hear it. Wait till you hear this. It's going to be nuts.
talking to people today about this new guidance and what to ask her. Everybody had very personal feelings about it, and I realized I did too, and all these questions. Part of it is that I feel like I'm going to have to rewire myself so that when I see somebody out in the world who's not wearing a mask, I don't instantly think you are a threat or you are.
I mean, what? I'm going to have to rewire my brain so that when I see someone out in the world without a mask, I don't think they're a threat. It gets better. Listen to this.
Selfish, or you are a COVID denier and you definitely haven't been vaccinated. I mean, we're going to have to rewire the way that we look at each other.
Maybe we shouldn't have judged each other and thought each other pieces of shit in the first place for something superficial, literally judging a book by its cover or lack thereof. This is what has happened to left people who have only watched left shit. I'm going to have to really rewire my brain to think, so now mask bad and no mask good. It's like, no. How about you fucking don't worry about what other people are doing? Keep your head down and do what you're supposed to do. You know, this whole thing where we've gone beyond selfishness. I'm for selfishness. Let's get back to selfishness. We've gone beyond selfishness and really permeated the field of greed at this point. You tell me, because that's what it feels like. We're not only happy anymore, this is what literally the guidance is now. Get a vaccine or don't, do you. You know what I mean? No one's even having the gall. You know what I mean? We're talking about Costco, a place that checks papers on the way in. You have to show proof of membership. They literally are already checking your papers on the way in, and even they don't have the balls to go, show me your vaccine paperwork. You know why? Because it's not a good look from a corporate optic standpoint. You know, the show me your papers to get in. We're going to go around policing people. And by the way, I think it's more dangerous this way. Now it's left up to your mind. Now you're wondering, well, that guy's wearing a mask and he's got a beard and an American flag hat. So he's probably a fucking Trump supporter, enemy. This is insanity at its fucking core. When I heard this clip, it's so crazy. Listen, look at her brain explode. Like, I'm going to have to figure out who to hate now because you flipped it.
Who's not wearing a mask, I don't instantly think you are a threat or you are selfish or you are a COVID denier and you definitely haven't been vaccinated. I mean, we're going to have to rewire the way that we look at.
She's taught herself to view other humans as not people. I have to rewire myself to when I see someone without a mask to go, you're not a threat. You're not a COVID denier. It's like stereotype much? Wow.
Each other, because the CDC's guidance, which she just told me, we are sure, is that if you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask except in very specific circumstances. And so that means as we change that as a country, we are going to look at each other differently and have to unwire our preconceptions about what a mask or a lack of a mask means. President Biden spoke to that a little bit today, asking for people to...
It's another generalization that is so full of a sick narcissism behind it. We're going to have to, as a country, come together and really think of it and rework how we look at people. It's like, no, we don't. We're not all like you. We didn't all jump on the board of fucking bigotry, asshole. This is mental illness. Again, half the country did vote for Trump, roughly. So, again, you going, we're all going to have to... Who do you think all these enemies you are that you guys are all against all the time? The Trump supporters and the the far right, proud boy. You know, everybody's a proud boy. Who do you think they are? You know, if you talk to the country like we're all on your side, you fucking muppet. You know what I mean? It's so bananas. We're going to have to really reevaluate. I don't. You know why? I didn't go insane the first time. when you read some of these tirades by celebrities, and all the way from really woke, fragile guys like Kumail Nanjiani to people like Chelsea Handler, who never shut the fuck up, being a righteous feminist hero soldier. And by the way, I like Chelsea Handler. I am a fan of Chelsea Handler. I'm a fanler. Comedically and personality wise, I think she's a real rough scratched bitch, ratchet ass, titan ass, ratchet ass lady. I'm really high. The point is, she never shuts up with the I'm showing my tits for Islam. Just like she's got her nose in every bit of business in the world, politically and otherwise. And, she writes, these people, they write these long letters to nobody. They all have the most expensive therapist, and yet they're all still broken. All the money in the world, and this woman is broken. She wrote this whole thing about, how depressed and everything's just gotten to her, and she's having trouble sleeping and doesn't feel safe. It's just like, you've all lost your way. Again, it's never been better for all of you. So I don't know what everybody's talking about. Things are great. On the big hole.
High school.
But when you're like, you heard it here. We're going to have to really rethink about which people to hate in public when we come across them. You broken lady. Sarah Silverman upset me this week also. And again, giant fan of Sarah Silverman. Usually also on her side, politically and issue-wise, with most stuff she says. She's one of these people who has openly come out, against, with almost this anti-feminism attitude against women in comedy who are like, we can't make it. Men are holding us down. She's like, shut the fuck up and get to work. Like, every minute you spend bitching about a man holding you down, by the way, is just another minute you're not working on you. So she's not wrong, and that's a great way to look at anything in life, okay? Don't get me wrong. We should all have a little pout now and then. Get yourself a tub of Ben & Jerry's, curl up with a Grisham in the bathtub. But after that's over, get back to work. Get over it. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, write a new joke, get on another show, and keep trying. It's not men who are holding you back. I mean, there's so many more fucking nobody comics. You're not going to talk about her hair. Sarah Silverman is speaking out. So Caitlyn Jenner's running for governor. She's a Republican. She's been speaking out lately about trans women in sports. We started to get into this yesterday. Crazy Joe called in. So Caitlyn Jenner running for governor. She's starting to talk about trans issues and specifically trans women in sports. I would argue there might not be a better person on the planet to speak to this issue. Okay? We have a woman who was formerly a man, very accomplished Olympic gold medalist, Wheaties box and all package, Also, probably one of the most well-known trans women of our horrible, horrible time. And TikTok, woke up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy. Talks like a crow. And she's running for governor of California. Now, anyone could be better than Gavin Newsom. So that's probably, if she wins, whatever. Somebody in the chat said she also killed a guy and is still allowed to drive. Well, she didn't kill a guy. Bruce killed a guy, which is a great way to dodge a murder 2 charge. He did it. It wasn't me. It was Bruce. And we're so woke, we'd legally not be allowed to prosecute. The court literally wouldn't be allowed to say Bruce because that's dead naming. And then they could be sued. You know, Caitlyn might go to jail, but she could sue the court for bringing up my trauma. Why is everybody always talking about my appearance on The Masked Singer? I'm trying to run for governor. I don't know if that's even close. I like to think that's what her voice sounds like in my mind. But she's speaking out, and she's just like, you know, it's not fair. There's the stat that's going around that everybody posts. There's memes and tweets. Like the fastest woman in the world, you know, there's 300 high school boys in the United States alone that could beat her. In the United States alone, the fastest genetically, biologically born female runner can be beaten by 300 high school teens in the United States. To argue that physically and genetically there is no difference between these competitors pre or post transgendered operations or hormones or however you want to do it, you're just denying facts if you think that there's not an advantage in general, overall, to biologically born males. Now you'll go, I know a girl who was faster than everybody at the school. It's like, okay. We're not here to talk about your fun little anecdotes. I'm talking about in general, you know, athletically, men will dominate women across the board. It's why Title IX is a thing in the United States for competitive athletes. It's why we break up sports all along life from super young through adulthood and professional sports into categories. Now, I'm not trying to take anything away from transgendered people. I'd like to figure this out with you. What I'd like to do is, since we're, you know, charging head on into this with no safety net, to sit down with us. It's pretty new. And let's figure out a fair solution for everyone. Because here's the facts. Any woman who transitions to a man and then tries to compete in the men's world of sports is going to be beaten soundly. And that's a fact. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? And any man who was mildly competitive in a men's division of something, especially when it comes to like weightlifting, this is happening on a big scale around the world, not so much in the US, but there are people, you know, these, like I said yesterday, these people, like their whole lives, they train 10, 15 years, their whole young lives, they give it up. They don't drink soda. They don't drink sweets. They're not sucking down licorice and eating ice cream pops. Their parents beat them, make them study, right back to the old mats. The Olympics come along, you know, you get one shot at it, one window You know, there's one of those 4 years, you know, and if you're lucky, you get 2 shots at the Olympics. Maybe you'll get to do that, you know, Tanya and Kerrigan style. If you're lucky, it might line up that way. And then, you know, a pandemic year where everything just gets tossed. And I don't even think they're doing the Summer Olympics this year. Canceled last year. So what are they going to do? Just roll it? Maybe they don't even have it this time? That's crazy. So these people work so hard, and men and women, you know, and they're split up for a reason. You know, this is a worldwide thing. So they're not going to buy into our American super new weak woke bullshit of like, hey, we're all the same. You can't say that. We're all whatever anybody wants to be is what they are. The world's not on board with that. You know, China is making super masculine super soldiers. We're letting women in who can't fire a gun without falling down enlist in the army. We're real woke about everything. But when we go compete on a world stage, all of our fucking woke points don't count for shit. If we send weak athletes, they're going to lose. You know, sports is a pretty pure, merit-based meritocracy, I guess I should say. Nobody has time. People always go like, that sports owner's racist. It's like everybody but 2 people on his team are black. His money's not racist. These people want the best people, and if white people were faster, they'd have all white teams, and black people would be riding the Zambonis. Not that black people can't drive Zambonis. I don't want to get mail on that, okay? So Sarah Silverman pipes up with, again, this is just fact denying and brainwashery. There's no way anybody's sitting here doing this who's not completely brainwashed. And again, I admire Sarah Silverman. I like her. I think she's a fun lady.
A trans girl is a girl.
Hold on, let me go back.
Right? A trans girl is a girl. She should have the same rights as cis girls. If you think a trans girl, what, you think a trans girl is too strong?
Yes. Yes.
What about tall girls as opposed to short girls?
Yes.
What about boys in high school who are teeny?
That's why they're on the
teammates,
team, Sarah.
She should have this.
I love this argument. What about tall girls? Should they have an advantage? Yes, that's why the volleyball team is decked out with them. And the basketball team doesn't have any shorties or people in wheelchairs. Girls in wheelchairs should get to play volleyball just like girls in not in wheelchairs. Yes, they should, but they can't. Because it's how the game works. You know, we don't need Heather rolling over the ball again. Hold on. And this is the cognitive dissonance in their brain. When scientific, medical, human facts, rubber meets the road, conflicts with this brainwashed gender is a construct. And by the way, fine with it. I'm not even saying not have that. Be whatever delicate rainbow you want. I'd like to know what study you'd like to do to prove you're right. That people who were born biologically male aren't stronger than people who were born biologically female. I'll wait for you to tell me how we do that study where you'll come out ahead. It doesn't exist. Oh, you think because what about women who are taller? What about women who weigh more? Why? They should separate it by weight. They do. They do. In a lot of sports. They don't let 200-pound people wrestle people who weigh 110 pounds. They don't do it. It'd be called murder. Tammy, who cares if she's 6'7" and can palm 2 basketballs between her ring finger and her middle finger? Who cares? Let her play. She will be dunking circles around the other girls. And you're sitting here screaming about, doesn't she have rights? What about the other girls who worked their whole fucking life to not have this nightmare with pearl earrings dribble around them? Like, you're nuts. They're doing the thing in California where, like, you say you're a woman, you can go to a woman's prison. It's like, ask the women in the prison how they feel about this new fucking innovation. You know, I feel like some people might have some opinions. There's no proof that this has ever been a problem. It's never been done. We're just starting to do it. By the way, there's hundreds of athletes, trans athletes, who have dominated sports competition at many different levels across the world. Across the world. Check it out. Google it. So, like, look, I'm not saying that these people don't deserve to compete or play their sport, but we do have to figure this out. We do have to figure this out. In fairness to people who worked really hard to compete and didn't understand, you know, people who worked really, really hard on their horse and buggy and didn't see the car coming. We got to figure it out, because it's not fair to, you know, I'm telling you, because of the whole dynamic of this fact that we're denying, the only people getting hurt are women. So I don't know what everybody's doing, but I love this. Sarah Silverman but trans girls are girls, and girls should be allowed to do girl things, and I don't understand. It's like, because you're blind, because you're denying facts.
Same rights as cis girls. If you think a trans girl, you think a trans girl is too strong?
Yes.
What about tall girls?
Yes.
As opposed to short girls?
Yes.
What about
they're
boys
better
in high school who are teeny tiny and their teammates have already hit puberty and are shaving?
They're not as good.
Why don't you just have co-ed sports divided by weight or height?
They do.
This is so dumb. They are legislating this shit without one single example of how this plays out.
There's hundreds. Women are the victims.
This is not worrying about girls' sports.
It is.
Believe me. I think there are better ways to worry about girls' sports.
Name one. People always do this. Like, okay, if we were really worried about girls' sports, I think there are better ways. And it's like they never name one. Name one. Name one. How are we going to mitigate this? And by the way, we're just getting into the time where we're, you know, allowing a 12-year-old to leave his parents if they won't give their kid puberty blockers. The parents can have their kid taken away. So we will have, you know, this will happen in the next few years where Olympians and professional sports athletes, and so it will happen more and more. And since these edge cases are starting to appear, we should probably have a real honest discussion about it. Because, look, it sounds good. And it sounds like, I get it. Everyone's brainwashed and terrified to have a real discussion. In a world where all we do is talk about it, wanting to have a real discussion, we're all terrified. You know, part of that is they keep changing the language on us, you know? It was colored people, then it was black people, then it was African-American people, then it was back to black people. Now it's people of color. They keep changing the language. There's no difference between colored people and people of color. I'm sorry. You know, when you dissect that sentence, it is identical, that phrase. So this is part of how, you know, dictatorships, authoritarian governments, and ideologues control thought in a population. You change the syntax. You change the nomenclature. You change the labels of everything. Constantly, by the way. Constantly. Well, I'm not, I'm cisgendered, bigender. Well, I'm ungendered. You know, non-gendered, fluid gender. I'm an X, I'm a Z, I'm a Zim, I'm a Zer. There's a new movement to, like, whatever you're, you know, you can be a donut. You can be, like, and look, I understand what it sounds like. It sounds great. Yeah, of course, just be what you want to be. Why not? You get one life, YOLO. Do what you want to be. Be. And by the way, do that. Legislating the world around your fucking crazy fantasy while obfuscating facts and science, meanwhile screaming that we should follow the facts and science. It's out of control. It's just I don't know. Like, I don't know where to go with it. But we all argue, and nobody can have a real discussion, because if somebody says the wrong language, if somebody's not up on the latest terminology, other people will shut the conversation down. Well, I think that black people, it's like, you shouldn't say black people. Let's just not talk about this. It's like everybody just wants to back out of a conversation because all it can do is lead to being canceled and a viral video from a Karen. We're at each other's throats, man. Look how mad Sarah Silverman is about, essentially what is hurting women. But this is how twisted these people are in their fucking heads. It's not about protecting girls. I think there are better ways. Name one.
This is not worrying about. This is not what that is. This is not worrying. This is not concern for girls' sports. It's transphobia, full stop.
No one's afraid of trans people.
It's just such a bummer when such a prominent trans woman is such a twat.
And you can go back and find, Sarah Silverman calling her a hero and being so happy for her. These people I've said this before. We're talking about Caitlyn. Like, why is she on The Masked Singer and stuff? Why is she even on? They're using her. They just use her. While she's a trans person, she's very useful for the movement. Once she's running for office with her ideas about facts, she's a twat. She's a trans twat. These people have hate baked in. They've been brainwashed. Rachel Maddow admitted it. They all admit it. They're like, I don't even know how to not hate somebody who's not wearing a mask. I got to rewire my brain. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I can't believe that over the last year, we've all just let ourselves grow and fester this hate for our fellow person. It really is nuts. It's really nuts. And by the way, the side that is screaming about tolerance and acceptance is the one fucking everyone hard. Are we better? We're over 100 days into Biden. This is what the answer was. All we have to do is get rid of Trump. The world is at war. Our president is bombing Syria. Hamas is attacking Israel. Israel is retaliating with heavy, heavy hands. Everyone's screaming here at home like they even know what the fuck is going on. Just like, uninformed woke dopes. Just because I stand with Palestine doesn't mean I'm against Israel. Just because I'm for all lives matter doesn't mean I don't think black lives matter. Sound familiar, you idiots? Stop standing with people, by the way. You look dumb. It is caring this much about something you know nothing about is so fucking dumb. Your need to be seen giving a fuck is so cringe to me. Yeah, man. Like I have a tough time with it because I never knew so many people. And by the way, this is what social media does. It indoctrinates us into joining the idiocy. All these people who constantly post all this garbage. Like it fucking entices us into doing it too. Join us in posting and piling on everyone for everything. Feels good. Come up with a joke at someone's expense that you don't really understand or have all the facts on. Feels great. Patrick, don't you do that all day? Yeah, but I'm funny. Should we get into should we get into the main event a little bit? Tony Hinchcliffe. You may know him from Red Band's world. Who's Red Band? You may know him from Joe Rogan's world. Who's Joe Rogan? You may know him from Fear Factor, a food-based challenge show for families and pregnant moms in the early 2000s. So Joe Rogan has this whole world of comics around him. When I lived in LA, so this guy Red Band kind of ran Joe Rogan's stuff, got him started like with the podcast and like his technical guy / producer, but he's also like a comic. And then Red Band starts making his own brand, this Death Squad stuff, and spiraling off all these other podcasts, where basically he just becomes a podcast network for like a billion shows. And one of them was called Kill Tony, featuring a comedian named Tony Hinchcliffe. He had a Netflix special in 2016 you may or may have not seen. Most comics seem to hate it, although I didn't hear a lot about that at the time it came out, only after everybody piled on to get him canceled last week. Let's break down what happened. For people who didn't hear it, you may not know. So all these comics, Joe Rogan, Red Band, Hinchcliffe, all these guys, they've moved to Austin, Texas. They're trying to make this the new comedy mecca. The comedians in Austin, from what I understand, are not too happy about it. Heather has moved the Creek in the Cave, classic, iconic Long Island City comedy club in New York. Got shut down during the pandemic, and she's moved it to Austin. Reopened it. It's doing well from what I understand. I'm sure it's a lot nicer there and cheaper and more sustainable. And now Red Band's setting up all these shows. So they're having all these, Texas is the new hop spot. What? For all these comics. So Red Band does these secret shows, I think, where like people just show up. You don't know what comics are on it. You don't know the location. They announce it. You show up. They put on a comedy show. There's Tony Hinchcliffe coming up on stage after this comedian, Pang Dang. After the set, Pang Dang posts this video. He says, "This is how Tony Hinchcliffe brought me up on stage tonight," and this is what got posted.
Give it up for the one and only Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yes, hello, good evening, welcome, hello. How about one more time for the filthy little fucking...
Whoa, filthy little fucking chant.
Fucking race traders are whooping and hollering. I'm back there watching you puking in a fucking bucket. Oh, we making a gunpowder. Oh, you want extra soy sauce. Oh, you borrowed money from us. And you guys just eating it up, you fucking pussy.
So that's what Tony Hinchcliffe does. Pang Dang posts this. Now, so he's obviously said the chink word, which is a slur that you shouldn't say, which is why I go ching, and just let it trail on. I'm not trying to hurt anybody, especially during Asian month. So that gets posted. It goes viral. Tony Hinchcliffe, all but canceled.
Oh, no.
And comics love it. Every comic can never get on Kill Tony. The Kill Tony show, for people that don't know, and I don't know it, I would never do this. But from what I understand, the Kill Tony show is there'll be a panel, like a table. It's usually like Red Band, Tony Hinchcliffe, and then like a guest comic or two. And it's kind of an open mic where people who want to come up, I guess they're pre-booked, they come up and talk for 1 minute. They get to do comedy for 1 minute, and then the panel just kind of roasts them and rips them apart, pretty much. That's the format of Kill Tony. So like newbie comics and, wannabe comics who hang out on the scene try really hard to get on Kill Tony, and they think that's a credit and stuff. It's so weird. It's so weird the longer you're in comedy, what you see, because it's just like, holy shit. So Pang Dang posts this up. And Tony Hinchcliffe gets canceled, and man, every comic just like, good to see that everybody finally got rid of this piece of shit. Tony's a piece of shit, racist piece of shit. Da 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 da. Stop defending this racist piece. Like just piling on. Now, before we get into this, let's get a couple of things straight, because my thoughts on this are all over the place and a little bit scattered, much like everything else I discuss. I am not arguing about whether this should be said or should not be said. That is not what I'm here to do. If you ask me, it's a little tone deaf and stupid, regardless of anything else, context or anything. It's stupid during AAPI month. It's stupid during Stop Asian Hate movement. You can follow these trends. And by the way, all this stuff is dangerous because it doesn't matter whether the trend's here right now or not. This surfaces 17 years from now when we're all, on a woke Asian kick and he gets canceled. So, good luck going back through my archives and finding all the things to cancel me for, and no fucks given. I'm not here to fucking apologize to you for jokes. These weren't jokes. These were racial slurs. If you think a racial slur is a joke, that's another popular tweet. It's like, it's not up to you to decide what a joke is either. So stop that shit. You fucking righteous indignation, you fucks. All these comics who piled on Tony, shame on you, you fucks. And I honestly mean that. And I'm not taking Tony's side. And again, I think it's fucking retarded that he said that. It's like, you idiot. But if you're a comedian piling on another comedian for something they said, you are a piece of shit. You are a self-destructive piece of shit who is ultimately going to help aid in the downfall of a lot of the arts in this country. You standing on the sideline clapping for free speech while a comic gets fucking ruined is fucking demented and sick to me. This is so bananas. I don't understand it at all. When it's a speech issue, he should get up there and be able to say anything he fucking wants. Now, that being said, because I know that's an unpopular opinion, I know that the law in this country and the foundation of our Constitution, the first fucking amendment, I know that me saying that I'm for that is a real stickler to some people. Like, how could he? It's like, I don't give a shit that you're retarded. I'm not going to spend time catching you up with, I think the law is good. I think it's a very unique thing that we have in this country that we take for granted a lot. Freedom of expression and speech. And I tend to err on the side of constitutional and personal freedoms where I can. Now, that being said, he should have to sit in whatever the consequences that arise from this are. And boy, is he. You know, this is where the stupid part comes in. Part of being a comic is knowing your audience. Now, this is where there's a fork in the road. Again, these are very complicated issues. And I'll come on here and I break them down ad nauseum. I know people go a little like, Patrick, I don't want to hear you break down the Tony Hinchcliffe thing for an hour. There's a lot of angles to it, and I can see sides and facets that maybe other people don't see, especially in this knee-jerk society we live. You know, minutes after this thing breaks, comics are just shitting all over the guy without knowing anything. And there is another shoe that drops here. So, I believe you should have to sit in it, you know, whatever the consequences of this are. If there's a giant public backlash for this, you should have to sit in it. I don't think comics should be a part of that. So, Patrick, you don't think comics have the right to criticize other comics? That's not what I'm saying either. Because then I'll have women comics going like, when it's a toxic environment, we have to speak up. And you don't think we should? Shut up. Now women should shut up? Just you. So I just don't think comics should be critiquing other people's sets. Let me just phrase it like that. You can go like, oof, I wouldn't have done that. Like, fuck, I can't believe you did that. Like, wow, you did that. You going as a comic, going out and with a pitchfork, you know, going, fuck him, get him. It's like, let me tell you something. I don't care what you say. There's a seed of that based in absolute pure jealousy. A seed of it. And then the other part is just, we've been conditioned to receive this reward of dopamine in our brains when we ruin a person. So like with you piling on, feels good, you know? And then you get to write a joke about it and get likes on it for your brave stance, you know? It's just like, I'm so sick of like comics acting brave with their super widely accepted opinions. It's fucking nuts. So, little more context. Let me go back to this. Like I said, he should have to stand in it, whatever the backlash is. Like that's the free market of comedy. Know your audience. You know, enough said, but not enough said. This video is a fucking crime as far as I'm concerned. You and me were never supposed to see this set. His audience, that he should know, is that room. Now, you could also make an argument that he should know his audience is everybody in this world. Everybody's recording. Great. You know, and by the way, congrats on being right and also us living in a fucking shithole that we've built. Like, I'm mesmerized by the fact that we as adults who are supposedly learned sit and clap while we lose freedoms and do things to people that we don't truly understand. We're really dumb. So, you know, you can make the argument, well, he should have known it'd be recorded and posted. It's like, okay, well, we can go back and forth on that all day, right? This, you know, taking something out of context thing has been a problem for years and years, and it's growing and growing. And the fact is, we should give zero fucks what anybody outside that room thinks. And guess what? Their opinion changed. Because in the moment they laughed. And then they went home and told everybody they were at that show. And now it's blown up virally. And people are going, oh my God, was it crazy? Yeah, it was so offensive. I was so, yeah, fuck. It's just like, ugh. Let me give you some context too, okay? Pang Dang, apparently, who, by the way, I don't know. I'll say this up front too. I don't know whether he posted this to get Tony Hinchcliffe or he thought like Tony Hinchcliffe fans would get it and laugh. but I have to lean towards the former. Now, if you're trying to get Tony Hinchcliffe and you're Pang Dang, who is a nobody comic, you're a piece of shit. Apparently, Tony has taken Pang on the road and let him open for him. They knew each other. They worked together. So they had a relationship. And Pang did this to Tony, posted this video. Now, the next day, Ari Shaffir posts like a 30-minute video, 40-minute video of Pang Dang's full set and Tony Hinchcliffe's full set. Because context matters. Now, how much it matters? Who knows? I still maintain you have to like read the room and the audience and the time it is. You know what I mean? We're in this really weird Asian time. So it was pretty dumb to do, I think. But I see how it happens. But when you watch Pang Dang's set, A, it's weak. B, it's super racist. So he rails against other Asian people and white people. Now, I don't know if he uses any kind of slurs like that, but it's a very racist connotation. So when you take that into account and then you move it over to Tony coming up and doing that, it's like, okay, well now this is a callback, kind of. Right? He also says things like race traitor and you're lapping it up and you're going to like the wording he's using is hyperbole. He's being so extreme. And this is I'm sorry. He's using comedic techniques such as hyperbole or satire. And by the way, the left loves to go, satire is just what comedians say to get away with heinous. It's like, that's what satire, we can't help what satire is. It's making fun of people who actually think that. We really lose a lot when we're dumb as fuck. So like, I get it. It's hyperbole. It's satire. It was very clear to any comedian watching that, if you're intellectually honest, he wasn't serious. He's not racist. It's a joke with Pang. It felt familiar and comfortable. In watching it in the greater clip that Ari posted, it felt familiar and comfortable and fit better. And you have to wonder, if Pang was hurt by this, should he not have approached Tony one-on-one after the show? Said like, hey, dude, that was a little fucked up. And that should have been the end of it. Also, let's say Pang found it funny and didn't post this video. Would we ever even know? And by the way, does that make the joke okay or not okay? If a tree falls in the wood and nobody hears it, does it make a sound? Does it make a ripple online and get Tony canceled? No. So even when we begin arguing like, well, if the joke landed okay and everybody was cool with it, then it would have been okay, but it wasn't. It's like, well, now we're criticizing comics for trying. We're criticizing comics for lobbing out material. This isn't how comedy works. We don't all bat 1,000. Is that how baseball works? Get my card, Rusty. It's dangerous, and it's hard enough out there, with these woke movements and shit and speech being under attack on platforms and stuff. It's hard enough to navigate this, even if you're trying to do the right fucking thing. So I don't need comics piling on other comics for speech. It's fucking gross. Stay out of it. You can think someone's funny or not funny or whatever. That's fine. You calling somebody, like, there's never been a better time to just be labeled a racist publicly on the internet. I mean, I imagine 15 years ago, if you Googled somebody and it came up they're a racist, that was a worrying red flag. Half the people you Google now have been called a racist by somebody in the comments of a YouTube video. Like, it's never meant less. oh, this guy's like Hitler. He's a Nazi. It's like, I think you guys forget what that was. It was fucking heinous. They're out of chocolate sprinkles at the ice cream place. Fucking Nazis. It's like, okay. Thanks, Seinfeld. Yeah, so I don't have the answers. Look, but I'm smart enough to know that, and I don't just rush out call. And by the way, that next day when Ari posted that, a million comics were like, now that I see it in context, like it wasn't that extreme. I should have waited and judged it in context. It's like, hey, Rachel Maddow, get in the habit of not judging everyone and everything all the time in the first place. Let's all rewire our brains for that, you unhealthy fucks. Okay, now that I processed it and really looked back and stepped back and look at the whole picture, it's not as bad as That's everything in life. You know, learn that lesson already, 38-year-old. Oh, now that I looked at it, you know, like an analytical person, like do that with everything. It shouldn't be a shock to you when you fucking evaluate something correctly. It shouldn't be shocking. It should tell you, oh, I'm a really overreactive douchebag. I should probably wind it back a little, not be so knee-jerk with my neediness to be liked by my peers. If I pile on Tony Hinchcliffe, maybe I'll get famous. And by the way, did you, for your dumb tweet, you woke signaling fuck? Pang Dang's video, 123,000 views. Ari Shafir's, over double that. So, how did this work out? Tony Hinchcliffe will undergo a little bit of wrath, probably be fine, and be back working in no time. Pang Dang will go nowhere because he's not funny enough. And now he's kind of like, I'm sorry, even though comics help pile on Tony Hinchcliffe, they're such fucking little sycophantic pieces of shit. When his show comes back, they'll still want to be on it, and nobody gives a fuck about Pang Dang. So, whatever your plan was to like, I'm going to ruin Tony's career and get famous, it didn't work. You look stupid. Comics think you're a snitch. No one wants to hang out with you, and not because you're Asian. So stop doing that everywhere.
I don't like the look of it.
Just pathetic, man. Pang Dang. Dang, Pang. I, you know, and again, whatever Tony gets is what Tony gets. He has a stand in it, and I do think it was dumb. But I think if you're a comic piling on this dude, you're a piece of garbage. For real. Let's do some fun ones before we go. Big Irish J. I was watching a video. Big Irish J did a video about this. AirBNB is losing their mind. You can now stay in a Popeyes, Louisiana kitchen. In Huntington, New York. Okay? Look at the pictures of this. So it's a Popeyes restaurant. Here's a picture of their food, in case you don't know what a Popeyes has. And here's a woman's titty with some gravy. You ever just want to see a picture of a woman with some tit gravy? Popeyes has you covered. With potato salad. Titty salad. So no picture of the place. You're going to sleep. No mention of how the accommodations work. So I don't get it. I don't understand. But then you go over here and they started doing at the last Blockbuster on Earth, you can also spend your summer. So this is what these failing businesses are doing. Popeyes, for people who don't know, famous for always being out of something. Chicken. You know, they're always shutting down. We don't have sandwiches. We don't have breasts. All we have is mild wings and coleslaw sauce. We don't even have the slaw. We just have the sauce. Isn't that mayo? We're not allowed to say. I used to work there. I never worked there. That's not true. I don't want to get blogs. Action! AirBNB off the rails. End of summer sleepover at the last Blockbuster. Entire guest house hosted by Sandy. 4 guests, studio, 1 bed, half bath. Remember, no showers in a Blockbuster. So settle in for that. Here's what your experience is going to entail. Okay. They've set up a living room inside the Blockbuster. It's kind of nice, but unless they put down carpet, new carpet, this is the grossest carpet known to humans. They've made a little living room set up here with some old lamps and tables, disgusting furniture. It's probably just, you know, I know they have cameras in there too because it was a business. Look at this setup. Hi-fi. You got 2 dual VHS DVD players. I imagine they have a Blu-ray. Maybe not. Snacks. I guarantee you get charged for these. They're watching you on camera. The bed folds out from the sofa, which I find rather disgusting. And how much will you pay for this experience? In where is this, by the way? Bend, Oregon. Oh yeah, let's go to Oregon, the world's most on fire destination. Hey, Deschutes County residents, dust off those membership cards for a sleepover inside the world's last Blockbuster. When you call dibs on this day, you're booking a night back in the 90s, but you won't have to beg your parents to rent the latest horror flick. We'll give you the keys to the entire store. On 8/17 at 1 p.m., we're inviting movie lovers from around the area to request to book one of these 3 one-night stays that'll take place on 9/18, 9/19, and 9/20 for up to 4 people. So, sorry, my voice is scratch-tastic. Scratch-telly. So what's the 411? At the last standing location in the world, our Blockbuster store is an ode to movie magic, simpler times, the sense of community that can only be found at a Blockbuster location around the world. Over the past few months, we've been missing regular visits from friends, neighbors, and tourists from around the world, so we're opening our store to 3 quarantine pods of Deschutes County guests for socially distanced movie night, just like those decades of past. Keeping our customers comfortable and feeling at home is our priority. If you're only opening this up to local people and you want to make them feel at home, how about you just let them go home? You know, what is with the requirement that they be local? I guess because people just, I would absolutely try to shit in the return box. Remember, the store is yours for the night. Let loose, blast the boombox with your favorite 90s denim so you feel right at home. Help yourself to Nerds, Raisinets, and popcorn. Make sure you save room for a couple slices. Crack open a 2-liter of Pepsi before locking into a video game, charting your future game of MASH, or watching movie after movie. After the final guest checkout, Blockbuster customers can enjoy the living room space during store hours for a limited time. And if you aren't among the few to snag these belongings or visit because you're somewhere else in the world, but in need of it, hold on a second. This is retarded. The stores, y'all, after final guests check out, Blockbuster customers can check out the living space during the store hours. Our Blockbuster store is open because of incredible local community here in Bend, who are grateful to support. Okay. I can't imagine. Like, your TV is not going to be as good as mine. Even my old, bezeled Vizio is going to be better than your shit. VHSs. They say nothing about, they want it to be a 90s experience though. So that's the whole thing. You're not going to find a DVD. That's the whole fucking point, I guess. This is dumb. And then you can't even imagine how much money they would make if they really opened this up to people around the world. I think they fucked this. It doesn't make sense. You get a lot more interest. Common spaces, 1 sofa bed, 1 air mattress, Wi-Fi, air conditioning, heating, breakfast, carbon monoxide alarm, smoke alarm, essentials, TV, free parking, first aid kit, $4 a night. Yeah. So there you go. If you want to stay at a Blockbuster, live your best life. We're going to go overdose only to finish up the show. If you'd like to hear the rest of the show, how about you join the Overdose? 20% off. Head over to nobodylikesonions.com/overdose now. Join the Overdose. You're going to get access to our entire back catalog of shows and bonus shows that we do, after shows, stuff like that. But also, more importantly, support the show directly. We can't live without you. Use promo code Melinda at checkout. Save 20% and also support us. Pick yourself up a hat, including this fine Rick's hat you see on my head here, along with all of our great summer merch here over at nobodylikesonions.com/store. And of course, if you're an Overdose member, you'll save 15% across the board on all of our merch. We're going to go to Overdose only. If you're watching live, stick around. And if you have the Overdose, stick around. Otherwise, join the Overdose. I don't have time for your bullshit.